So I want to talk about gear. And no, not
Steroids?
I mean gear as in equipment. Now, if you're starting your fitness journey, you might be thinking to yourself, what do I need to bring to the gym with me? Can I just bring nothing and some clothes or whatever, or the clothes on my back? And yes, you can. But as you continue to progress, you might need to invest or buy some more equipment or gear in order to help, get you stronger or get you on the way to maintaining your strength if that's something that you're doing. So here are some of the things that I keep in my gym bag and that I bring to the gym with me so that I can fulfill Ra's al Ghul's destiny.
I'm here to fulfill Ra's al Ghul's destiny.
Now make sure that you help me by feeding Al Gore's rhythm. Shout out to the Armed Scholar. I totally stole your tagline, but make sure you like, comment, and subscribe so that you can stay tuned for whenever I drop another video. And before we get into the gear, I am not sponsored by any of these companies, and I have purchased all of these things with my own money, and I will put links down below the like button for you. Real quick, I do want to touch on clothing, because I think it's important to be comfortable when you work out. So I recommend that you wear something that's breathable, something that is comfortable, and something that obviously you don't really care about getting dirty, because the gym is an inherently dirty place. Now moving on to number one, which is going to be shoes. Now picking the right shoe is important, but I don't want to get hung up on which shoe is best and all that stuff and doing a comparison on all the training shoes that are out there, because there are a lot of them and y'all didn't come here for that. So if you just have some sort of athletic style shoe that you already own, that's going to be great for you, especially if you're starting off with some isolation movements, machines, and things like that. But primarily you want a shoe that has enough room for your fat toes like me, maybe something that has a little bit of a stiffer sole so that it provides you more support and makes it easier for you to transfer energy and force into the floor if you're doing things like squats. I really like the Nano X4s. I really like these because they're a good combination between a good squat shoe or a good Olympic lifting shoe and a shoe that is good for cross training or a CrossFit if that's something that you're into. But it's a shoe that I can utilize for jumping, doing carrying things, and things of that nature. So that's the shoe that I like to wear, but there's others like the Vivo Barefoot if you don't like money and you just want to spend it all on things. Those are great shoes as well. Also super wide, which is nice. For something more like running, I do like the Ultras because they also provide a zero drop shoe, and they also have a wide toe box, as it's called, for my fat toes, which I really like. Moving on to number two, which for me is kind of a toss-up between the shoes and this item, which is going to be straps. For me, the Versa grips work really well, but I also used regular just lifting straps for the longest time. Here are a couple pairs of straps that I've owned. These are leather, these are canvas. I think I've had these for like 10 years. I've had these for like 8 years. These are grizzly leather straps. They smell terrible. And these are Redcon 1 straps. I think they came with a bunch of supplements that I ordered from them years ago. So nothing too fancy about those. The Versa grips are just really grippy. They're really easy to, lock into a bar or whatever implement you're using, whatever piece of equipment you are utilizing at your gym. And they're really nice for that. They are made of some kind of crazy material that I have no idea. The bottom pad is really grippy. It's like rubberized, and they stay together because you can just like Velcro them like this, or like I have. So that's another nice thing. Unfortunately, if you lose them, they're both gone because they're Velcroed together, but they might be easier to keep track of if they're just, Velcroed together. Biggest reason I like to utilize straps in my training is because my forearm muscles and most people's forearm muscles are generally a lot weaker than, say, your back muscles or the muscle that you're usually trying to target by doing some kind of heavy pull or some kind of, gripping or rowing motion or something like this. So your back is probably going to need a lot more stimulus or a lot more reps and intensity or more weight than your forearms are. So if you eliminate the gripping portion of the movement, then you can really target your back muscles, for example, doing things like pull downs or rows, again, like I mentioned, And it just is kind of a nice thing to have as you continue to get stronger. The next thing I want to touch on is sleeves. Now, I don't wear elbow sleeves because I, humble brag, outgrew the elbow sleeves that I do own. Now, Cerberus Strength makes really good sleeves. SBD is really well known in the sleeve game as well. I don't really mess with knee wraps. I do have wrist wraps, which I'll talk about later on, but the knee sleeves are something nice to have if you experience knee pain or swelling or anything like this. They can just provide you a little bit of support. Some people think it's cheating. I don't really think so. They don't help you all that much. You might get like a pound or two in a PR if you use sleeves, but they're really there for support. Whatever type of voodoo is in the neoprene that helps you with knee pain is great. I highly recommend that you pick up a pair, either the SBD knee sleeves or the Slingshot knee sleeves. I think Gym Reapers makes knee sleeves as well, but Cerberus, whichever ones you pick up, just make sure you size them correctly, and just slap them on when you're doing things like squats, even overhead press or something like that. It doesn't have to be a barbell movement either. It can be like leg press too, or a pendulum squat, something in a machine. Just something to give you some support for your knees. Like me, I got dusty ass old knees, so I really need it. Moving on to the next thing, which is going to be a good belt. Now, I rotate between a lever belt and a soft belt with a Velcro loop. I really love this Cerberus Strength belt because it has a double D-ring as well as the Velcro, so it doesn't ever come loose, and sometimes it's actually hard to take off, especially after a heavy lift. But I really like the lever belt because it just snaps right off. It's super easy, and apparently the trendy thing is to like flick it really hard after you do a lift. A lot of powerlifters like to do that. I don't know why, but the SBD one and Cerberus Strength one is adjustable, so if you fluctuate between sizes, you don't have to bust out a screwdriver to, adjust your lever belt. You can just move it over a hole or two and you're good to go. While we're on the topic of belts, you can also get a neoprene belt like this one. This is a Reband neoprene sleeve. It's really nice. It's sort of just like a big knee sleeve for your torso. Helps keep your lower back muscles nice and warm. And you can also double it up with a lever belt or a soft belt like I do. One thing to note, the neoprene belt is not a fat burning product or a weight loss product or anything like that. It's just a support product. So don't buy it thinking that it's going to help you lose belly fat. The only thing that's going to help you with that is proper diet and discipline. Sorry to break it to you, but that's just the way that it goes. Oh, also the reason that I like the soft belt sometimes better than the leather belt is because when I do gain a few pounds during the winter time, when I'm trying to put on some size, some muscle, the leather belt tends to cut into my skin a little bit, especially when I'm doing squats, and that is kind of annoying and hurts a little bit, so I tend to switch to the soft belt when that happens. Like I said, you can double it up with a neoprene belt on top too to give you a little bit more support. And if you're interested in powerlifting, you may also want to look into a leather belt instead, because I know the federations have rules about, I think they have to be like 4 inches wide and 13 millimeters thick, and they have to be leather. I think that's how it goes. As a bonus, I have some honorable mentions here. I think something to keep in your bag, and that I used to keep a lot, is some of these collars. These are the Rogue barbell collars. They're really nice. They snap. They have a really good positive like snap, and they hold the weight on the bars really nicely. Additionally, bands are something that I like to keep in my gym bag because, for one, not all gyms have bands, and also the ones that they have at the gym, if they do, sometimes they do, they're usually like chewed up and they're missing pieces and chunks and stuff like that. And if you're using a band to pull, say for example towards your face or somewhere near your groin area, if it snaps and breaks and hits you, you're gonna have a bad time. And I actually met a guy at a competition I did who was doing a face pull of some sort, and the band broke and it hit him in the face, and he has partial vision loss in one of his eyes. So something to keep in mind if you're utilizing bands. Another thing is wrist wraps. Shout out to Cerberus. These are awesome. I like to get the really long ones so I can wrap them, up and down my wrist to really lock in. They do help with a little bit of pain management for me in the squat, and also they can help you when you're doing pressing movements and things like that, either bench or overhead press. Really nice for that. If you want to bring cardio everywhere you go, highly recommend getting a jump rope. It's super light, takes up like a minimal amount of space, and you can literally utilize it anywhere, as long as there's no sprinklers above you, because you don't want to get soggy. Lastly, something that I used to keep in my bag is a lacrosse ball or a peanut. This one's just 2 balls.
That's what she said.
Taped together, 2 lacrosse balls to be specific. Yeah, you can keep all 3 or 2, however you want to look at this. They're great for massaging your muscles or trigger points, whatever you want to call them. I really like to utilize these on my glutes for when I am feeling some kind of hip pain or back pain or something like this. So something to keep in mind. They're super cheap. And if you lose one, you can just like buy a pack of like 6 or so at Dick's Sporting Goods, and they'll last forever. They make good dog toys too if you're into that. The last thing I'll bring up out of my gym bag is a neck harness or neck strap. This one is from Iron Neck, and if you're gonna do any neck training, I highly recommend that you buy your own, because if there is one at your gym, it's probably gonna be disgusting. And who knows how many hundreds of people's forehead sweat is all over that thing. So if you want to make sure that it's just your sweat on that, just buy one. They're pretty cheap on Amazon. So I like to utilize that in my training. I do a lot of neck training. So let me know down in the comments if I missed anything. Comment your favorite piece of gear that you like to keep in your gym bag. Something I'm actually going to get in the future is an ab mat, because whenever I have an ab mat exercise or an ab mat crunch in my training, I'm like hunting all over the gym for the ab mat, because it's never in the same place that I left it last time. And I'm also looking to get some push-up handles, because as a great modification for the push-up, using a handle that lets you get into a deeper stretch position at the bottom is really great for growing your chest and also helping with mobility and things like that. But it's totally not necessary. You can use a couple bumper plates if you don't have those near you, which is something that I do all the time. Or I utilize a couple pairs of, or a pair of dumbbells, like the Hex rubber ones, or you can even use like kettlebells if your gym has those too. So yeah, comment down below your favorite piece of equipment and your favorite gym bag if you have one. I have like a big duffel that I got from Dick's Sporting Goods like years and years ago. Of course it's nasty, of course it stinks, and of course I've never washed it. So with that being said, happy gains, be safe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.